Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Midnight Brands coming to you with prep breadth for Tuesday, May 30th, 2023. It's been a lovely couple of days. Hopefully, everybody was able to get away from the desk and enjoy a good long holiday weekend here in the States for Memorial Day. It's been a couple interesting days for sure. It was a big push on Friday. We missed a bunch of it. We had some fun graduation things and whatnot, but it looked like it was a great day. Hopefully everybody was able to catch some of that. And I guess we can stop chatting there, and we'll dig right into things. So let me move a couple of things around. Obviously, some stuff going on in the background. There's been some noise here this morning with Musk over in China. There's also just been some other general commentary about China wanting to do stuff to modernize their state national security system, etc. More. It's been kind of a chatty morning so far from a news perspective on what I've heard over the squawk. So I'm going to go ahead again. We'll just jump right into it. We're really kind of hoping that ESNQ pull back here a bit and we get some lower zones here. In any event, we got some interesting news here this week for sure. Definitely have a whole lot of Fed speak. There's probably only half the Fed speakers that are going to be talking or even on this list, is my guess, if history is anything. So, pretty basic stuff though. I mean, it's just some interesting numbers for sure. If you're trading the overnight, do keep an eye out for this China PMI stuff that'll be coming out there. That is almost never on time from China, but it can have an impact in the overnight session for sure. Obviously, the big piece later this week will be the ADP piece and non-farm payrolls and so forth. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. We did all this prep the other day. You'll see that here in a second. But we'll jump in with SVXY. We did get an opportunity to go through and do that here, unlike last week where we had a couple things just chewing up our time. So with SVXY, pretty clean on the components there. It's trading up around 72.26, so definitely a pretty good sized gap, which in our mind does put those upside zones there into play, including that one that we've noted way up there at monthly trend guide reversal 2. So with just kind of the continued push on indices and everything else, SVXY is continuing to rise, with the VIX continuing to fall. But really kind of clean zones with SVXY in general. Moving on to VIX, as I said just a second ago, so VIX is continuing to fall a little bit. It's down to 1722 at the moment, 23 give or take. And so, I mean, in general, it's fairly clean kind of zones. Did note a couple of extra ones we should keep an eye on this week and for the day. So, if we do decide to start to give up some of the stuff, to watch some of these extra upside zones there. So, we got div structure, tier 2 daily cheat, tier 1 end of week. In that structure stuff, I mean, you can see this kind of stuff right there. Big push up, but then failure. Where did it fail? Right about that area there. And then certainly some stuff back through here as well. It just doesn't look like ES and NQ want to give up yet. In any event, the other big one, this would be a for this week type thing, is that 200-day quarterly pivot. You've also got weekly trend guide 2 up there, and actually our tier 1 OPEX cheats are up there as well. On the lower end side, since that's where we're trending at the moment, keep an eye out. We added this extra zone down here. Weekly trend guide reversal 2, weekly photo ADRs, and monthly trend guide reversal. Now, of course, given that it looks like we'll be gapping down, these weekly photo and weekly fulls will move around a little bit based upon obviously where we open for the week. But at the moment, it's looking like we're going to open lower. Jumping into SPY, so SPY is trading up to 421.85 from Friday's close. Obviously, yesterday it was not open. And so 421.85 puts it definitely up near this trend guide reversal zone plus supply and demand and the gap fill. So it could see this gap fill get closed here and get some interactions off of it. And it's certainly been some stuff there in the past. The other upside zone is pretty clean, pretty straightforward. We did add this zone here way up at the high, so weekly trend guide reversal 2, supply and demand, gap fill. Mostly just added it because if we did decide to keep going, kind of what would make the next logical sense. If we do decide to skip past these things, SPY hasn't really gone back into the SE side, symmetrical extreme side, like the Qs have either. So it's got some room to run still, really. Let's see what else on the lower end side. So this would be a pretty good sized give back, especially given that we're gapped up to 421, almost 422. But you've got this the 20-day daily anchor VWAP, swing anchor VWAP. I'm sure is in there too. If I were to change this to be like 240-minute or something like that. But that's a pretty big spot there with weekly trend guide. It looks like it's been weekly trend guide now for 9 straight weeks. So gives you a sense of how strong that ES, SPY, etc. trends have been. NQ is even longer in that regard. Hitting up on the Qs to that point. So I noted this in a couple other places. So Qs, I mean, we're definitely starting. Excuse me, we're definitely starting to get up there in quite a ways, actually, on the symmetrical extremes. These zones way up here that I noted, this weekly trend guide reversal 1, monthly trend guide reversal 5, full ADRs, which would actually move up. Given where we're gapping, it's up almost $4 on the Qs. I mean, this 352-ish area, I mean, it's not far for us to go and see this 8, a little bit over 8 actually, which would be really pushing the upside tier of the symmetrical extremes. Just pull this over real quick. So this is the way that I map out and look at these. I mean, these are all getting super close to the max tier on the symmetrical extreme. I mean, hell, T triple Q's gapped up over $2 themselves too. Not actually, no, $1.50. But pretty much all this stuff is moving pretty well, and even on the 50-day, I mean, hell, look at this. So SMH is now pushed above its historical max and is into a brand new max. Crazy. In any event, I think all the rest of the stuff here on the Qs are pretty straightforward. I mean, definitely watching these bigger upside zones, and we're already pushing through this trend guide reversal zone here too, given that we're at 352.30. So I mean, we're pushed up through there, and that is also these kind of orangish triangles are the pattern that I'm using to track the OPEX sheet. So that's the tier 1 OPEX sheet. There's a spot on the blog if you need to understand more about the expected move stuff. In any event, let's get into the indices. So built these out on Monday afternoon. All pretty clean in terms of what they're mapped to. A couple of minor adjustments here and there. This is in the double supply and demand. There's just a copy in there somewhere somehow. But there's also a naked VA right there. You could drag this down to include the NVPOC if we, go and decide to push up that far. Like I said, at the moment, it looks like we're gonna try to hold this stuff. Although YM and RTY are taking big dumps. Yeah. So let's see what in here. Definitely noted this the other day. We came right up on Sunday into Mondays. You get your div into a tier 1 daily cheat. It was the ETH open again, like I just said. Naked VA combo high value area. So that's up near that 4240-ish spot that we came up, tagged, and reversed off of. At the moment, we are, we tried poking above this little block here for the daily trend guide reversal, monthly trend guide reversal. There's a gap fill in there. It looks like there's an NVPOC in there just about. Naked VA towards the bottom end. So a lot of stuff right in this little block right here. And trying to decide if we're going to fail that or not here at the moment. The rest of the zones are pretty, like I said, pretty kind of straightforward. We did combine this weekly pivot, daily trend guide block here, high volume node, supply and demand, etc. into one block. If we decide to start failing, then you definitely want to keep an eye out for the look down here just above 4160 towards the upper edge of supply and demand. And I'm sure that, moving average is going to continue moving up. I don't think it'll move all the way up into the trend guide block, but it's definitely one to keep an eye out. And the 50 day isn't really all that far behind. I mean, just take a look on the 50, like we just held it the other day. Right, so in any event, pretty clear levels on ES in my mind. The other part, obviously, we'll mention here is there is this potential for ABCD and termination up here at the monthly trend guide reversal 2. What was photo ADRs, NVPOC right there, hiding right at monthly trend guide reversal 2, and that's a pretty big spot right there. So. Yeah, let's move on to NQ. So moving on to there, as I noted, just like in the Qs, right, these upside zones up here would definitely be nearing the peak on the symmetrical extreme for both the 20 and 50 day. And really, that you can do this yourself. So like that's just a matter of using the ruler tool in Ninja and grabbing a spot and seeing what the percentage is. So, oh wow, look, that'd be 2%. Well, crap. 2% plus 5, that's 7 3/4, 7 and a third there, given where we're at the moment. So just pull it up yourself and see. I mean, but it's pretty clear. Like we get up to these ones here, we're definitely pushing on those bigger spots. At the moment, though, we can't get clear of this trend guide reversal, tier 1, tier 1 OPEX, tier 1 daily cheat, supply and demand high. So like we don't even want to clear this at this point. Do note though, like there is this potential for an ABCD here, which terminates right at the NVPOC, just above this. So maybe we push through here on the morning open, go up, tag the NVPOC, and then reverse off of that, and don't even go up to get the extreme on the symmetrical side. The rest of the zones really are pretty clear. We did do one other part here. So this zone with daily trend guide, quarterly trend guide, we did add the weekly pivot. Just felt like it kind of made sense to combine it there, with how we sliced right through. Come back and maybe test this candle here on some of this. I mean, it is a low volume node though, so would be cautious of it just kind of slicing all the way through that low volume and down into monthly trend guide reversal 3. And the daily trend guide. Right beneath that would be weekly photo, which will probably have moved up a little bit given that we kept kind of pushing there. But yep, again, all kind of pretty straightforward on NQ as well. Moving over to RTY. Again, kind of nice, clean levels. We did make a handful of adjustments. I'm going to close this out. It's not going anywhere. So combine zone 1, zone 2 into one block, right? So monthly trend guide, weekly trend guide reversal, 200 SMA, pretty clean block there. Could have, put something around the full ADR with naked VA, but really would just be watching that. To me, I have more weight on the photo ADR and the tier 2 daily cheat there than just the full by itself. So in any event, just kind of looking at some of the other ones there, really again just combining a couple of divs or zones, things like that. Didn't really care for this block here of monthly pivot all by its lonesome self here. That said, we held on the EU kind of shortly after the EU open. last night, and then we just held it here again to the tick, actually, on this monthly pivot one. So, I mean, yeah, you could have said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and just treat weekly pivot and monthly pivot as one. And then the 50-day and daily trend guide, you certainly could have done that as well and split the zones up that way. That's just kind of where my mind and how I was thinking about it the other day when we carved this stuff up. So that's RTY. Moving on to YM. And so YM, as I mentioned earlier, really kind of dumped and is down into this weekly pivot point zone there. There's also a gap fill and NVPOC there. Took both of those out. Obviously, it's not real-time hours yet, but it shot through both of those and through the lower edge of that weekly pivot point zone. Candidly, had it not had the gap fill and NVPOC there, probably would have ignored that weekly pivot. You could argue there's some stuff there with the IB stats and whatnot, but it's not tons and tons. So in any event, that's those blocks there. Again, pretty clean. Would note here, if we do decide to get going, then you'll potentially watch for breaking open to May's highs here. But again, YM took a pretty big dump there this morning on this stuff. CL has had a nice little push here a little bit, and then fail since, I guess it was last night. Yeah, last night went up and pushed into trend guide, and then just kind of failed. Was looking, potentially to catch down in this zone again here, but no such luck. It's trading now down to 71.81, and so it came down and just sliced through and went into this lower block here near the full ADRs, weekly trend guide reversal, really right about at that 71 spot. I don't know that, there's a whole lot to say. Gonna have to remove this trend line because we very clearly took it out. It is not holding. We will have held the May 4th daily anchor VWAP, I do believe, though. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're gonna have held the daily anchor VWAP there on that one. So missed that. Came down in here right around 5 o'clock, 5:30, and is up 80 some ticks, but it's up into the swing anchor VWAP now from May 29th at the 9 p.m. where we had that peak. So in any event, CL's, generally speaking, is actually pretty clean zones here for today. It just shot through the stuff that we're watching, and makes it a little hard to catch when you're not there for it. GC is a big push off of the monthly trend guide reversal. As we noted there is trend strength reference point. I don't really like it, don't really care for it. And GC overnight, on the contract roll and stuff, did come down and test the monthly trend guide stuff and is up, 26 points, not ticks, but 26 points off of this monthly trend guide zone here. So monthly trend guide, supply and demand high, and it is now trading all the way up into this weekly trend guide block here, along with the 50-day tier 1 end of week cheat, and is trying to close out and invalidate this May 15th swing anchor VWAP. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what we decide to do here at the 50-day, and then we have the 20-day right above that, which set up for the look on the 20-day. So if I'm going to watch this here this morning, but I'm about ready to leave for a walk, say goodbye to folks who are in town as well. We'll probably be watching more for that 20-day daily anchor VWAP, the look set up here near 1985. That is definitely pushing though on the daily ADRs, but that is certainly a possibility. And so, in any event, hopefully this has been helpful. Again, I don't see any questions in the live, but if there ever are, feel free to go ahead and put them in there. If you have questions and you're watching this after the fact, just go ahead and note the time mark. I will start being more explicit if you watch these and find it somewhat helpful or have other commentary. Don't hesitate to put a block in there, you know, either a thumbs up or a comment. If you got a question, give me some level of feedback on what's worked, what's not working, what do you got questions about, why did I do X, Y, etc. Again, a lot of this is automatically prepped through the build and track confluence indicator that we have built, and we just kind of make a couple of tweaks and adjustments to it. So hopefully everybody has a great one, and we will catch y'all later. Thank you very much. Bye now.